Good morning, students. In this session, we are going to learn about how to configure Hibernates in NetBeans IDE. So, let me start with what are Hibernates. So, generally, Hibernates are an open source object relational mapping tool. So, it provides a framework to map the object-oriented domain models to relational databases for number of web applications. That is, Hibernates are used in order to store the large amounts of data, and it supports any type of database. Hibernates can be used both in standalone like Java applications and in Java enterprise edition applications like servlets, EJB, that is enterprise Java beans, session beans, and JVI service components. Now, how to configure Hibernates? So, I quickly open my NetBeans IDE. So, before going to configure the Hibernates, we are going to use any type of database. Here I am going to use PHP MyAdmin. So, I open my exam folder and I am going to start my MySQL. So, upon starting my MySQL, it will show the following databases. Now, I am going to create a new database. So, I am going to select an option called new and I am going to name my database name as Hibernate underscore, let me say KBN, and I am going to create it one. Now the database was successfully created. Now I am going to create a table. Let me make my table name as employee with 3 columns. Now I am going to select an option called create. Now it will ask about the column names. Let me say first one, that is employee ID, and second one employee name. Let me say 20, and third one employee salary. Let me include the size as 20. Now here definitely we are going to mention the one of the column name should be primary key in order to import it into Hibernates. So let me make my table without creating any primary key. Now I am going to open the NetBeans IDE. So in the NetBeans IDE, navigate to the option called file. In that, select the option new project. So in the new project, select the option called Java. And I am going to select the option called Java application. So in the Java application, I am going to select the option called next. And I am going to make my project name as Hibernate underscore, let me say test. Now I am going to select an option called finish. Now it will create an Hibernate Java application with the source package. So Hibernate underscore test.java file is created. Now I am going to close this file and I am going to select an option, right click on the source package and select the option new and navigate to the option called other. In that, select the option called Hibernate. Now the first file is Hibernates Configuration Wizard. So select the option called next. It will defaultly load the file as Hibernates.cfg, which means configuration. I am going to select the option called next. Now here it will ask about the database connection. So I am going to make a new database connection. So I am going to add this, that is MySQL database. Now I am going to select an option called next. It will ask about the username and as well as the database name. So here, as I already mentioned, my database name as Hibernate underscore KBN. So I am going to mention it here. Let me say Hibernate underscore KBN. And I am going to select an option called test connection to check whether the connection is successful or not. You can clearly see that the connection was successful. Now I am going to select an option called next. No, without any schema, and I am going to select an option called finish. Now you can clearly see that Hibernate configuration file was created. When we select the option called source, it will clearly mention the database name what we have created. So here you can clearly see that JDBC MySQL localhost 3306 and Hibernate underscore KBN is my database name. Now I am going to select an option called default packages and I am going to select an option called Hibernate reverse engineering. So select an option called new. In this, select an option called other and Hibernate, and I am going to select an option called Hibernate reverse engineering wizard. So in this, it will defaultly name as Hibernate.reverse engineering. And I am going to select an option called next. It will does not import the table since we haven't mentioned any primary key. So definitely in a table, the primary key must be present so that the table can be transformed here. So here I am going to cancel this application. I am going to get back to my local host and I am going to select this one and I am going to make it as primary key. Yes, your SQL query was successfully executed. Now, and I am going to again select an option called new, other, and in that Java, Hibernates, and I'm going to select an option called reverse engineering. So here I'm going to select an option called next. Here you can clearly see that the employee table was mapped. I'm going to add this employee table and I'm going to make an option called finish. And now here you can clearly see that Hibernate reverse engineering was mapped with the title name, that is table name, as employee, and as well as with the database name Hibernate underscore KBN. Now I am going to select a new package in order to import the Pojo classes, that is plain old Java classes. So let me make my package name as Pojo, and I am going to select an option called finish. Now you can clearly see that the Pojo was created. Now here I am going to select an option called Hibernate file with that Pozo class. So file, other, in that I am going to select an Hibernate, and I am going to select a file called Hibernate mapping files for the Pozo class from the database what we have created. Now, and I am going to select an option called next. So here you can clearly see that Hibernate Configuration.xml and Hibernate Reverse Engineering.xml is directly mapped here with the Pozo classes. Now I am going to select an option called next, and I'm going to select an option called finish, and here you can clearly see that Pojo was created along with the reverse engineering and as well as employee.java, that is with the table name what we have created. Now, so it includes employee.hibernate.xml and as well as employee.java. Now, this file will contains the overall database details. Now, coming to the next one, that is the last one. Here we are going to mention that Hibernate util.java, where I am going to select an option called now. So here I am going to minimize everything, and I am going to select the source package, and I am going to select an option called other. Right, minimize everything, and I am going to select an option called new, and I am going to select an option called Java package. Let me make my Java package as connection. So, and I am going to delete this one. Yes, and I am going to click an option called finish. Now, in the connection, and I am going to create new, and I am going to select an option Hibernate, that is Hibernate util.java, and it will defaultly given a name. So rename it to connection or controller. Let me make it as controller. Now I am going to select an option called finish. Now this completes the entire configuration of Hibernates. Now we will verify whether the configuration was successful or not. So for this I am going to minimize this connection, and I am going to select an option called run option, or you can select clean and build. So the server was running. First we have to select an option called build, then we are going to select an option called run. So totally connection package, Hibernate underscore test package, and Pozo package. So here you can clearly see that build was successful. So in this way we can configure the Hibernates in NetBeans. Thank you.